Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's time for another episode of Redneck Revolution Spills the Beans. What are we spilling the beans about? Are we talking about gossip? No. Are we talking about people? No. Are we talking negative thoughts? No. Are we talking about politics? Hell no. We are talking about dance and dance competitions, how this information might be able to help you become a better competitor or dancer overall. By no means am I an expert. I am just somebody with a lot of years' experience. And with that, I am doing this completely free. Why? Because not everybody can afford a coach. Now, if you remember at the end of our last episode, I said I was going to talk about this new scoring category that is showing up in competition called Name of Dance. Well, I don't understand why Name of Dance is important, why I'm being scored on it. Well, simply put, the name of your dance can make it or break it for you. And it also shows that you're being creative in your thinking. Now, there are a lot of choreographers that make this mistake. And sometimes it works out for them because they found that one song that hardly anybody's choreographing to. But other times it's like shooting themselves in the foot, and hence the term choreographer suicide, which is a broader spectrum that I'll get into during this video. Okay, if you are naming your dance the same as the song title, if I'm out someplace and I see your dance being done, but nobody can tell me that you're the choreographer, they just say, well, it's the same as the song title, and I go to Copper Knob and I look it up. Lo and behold, there are 2.5 pages of dances under that song with the exact same name. So, in order to find your dance, I have to sit there and go through every single step sheet until I find the one that matches what I saw that is your dance. Now, what do I suggest other than naming your dance after the title of the song? Be creative with it. Use a variation of the title of the song. Even if it's only a one word, find some way to play around with it. But if you actually sit and listen to most songs, there's going to be something unique in the lyrics that you can use. Or you just come up with a name that kind of fits. Prime example, Aces and Eights. It was originally choreographed to Dead Man's Hand. Okay, I am kind of a history nerd, so I knew what Aces and Eights were in poker. That is the Dead Man's Hand that you'll find the historical note at the bottom of the step sheet. Now, why is this so important? Well, I think I covered because it makes your dance hard to find. And a prime example of that, go to Copper Knob, look up Shivers. How many dances are named Shivers? Or, even better, Beyonce's foray into country music, Texas Hold'em. Go look up on Copper Knob. Count how many dances are named Texas Hold'em because the choreographers were in too big a rush to try and find that dance that was going to make them hugely successful and a number one hit. Everybody in this business wants to be a number one hit. And not everybody can be the new Boots on Bars or Ozzy Zom or whatever it is. Okay? Be creative because that keeps you away from having choreographer suicide. Why is it important in competition? Because, like I said, it shows your creativity, and being around this business for a long time, you get to know how judges think, and when they see, they named it the same as the song. Wonderful. Another one of 20,000 dances that we've seen with the exact same name. Okay, it happens that way. So how do you avoid this altogether? And that is by doing some research. Okay, if you hear a song on the radio, and I do not suggest using anything on the radio because you're going to be in competition with probably 10 other choreographers, if not more, trying to create a hit dance to that radio earworm that just came out by Pitbull. And I had to bring up Pitbull because, quite honestly, everybody in the business is kind of sick of Pitbull songs at this point because everybody's choreographing to Pitbull. Choreographer suicide. So you stay away from radio hits and you stay away from very, very popular artists. If you want to actually evolve into a known name in this business. Okay. I look for independent artists because these mainstream artists are making enough money that they don't need my help to sell their songs. But the independent artists actually need help getting their music out there. And that's why a lot of judges will mark you down if you're using the flavor of the month song in the choreography competition. I can remember in the 90s, we were all guilty of it, choreographing to Shania Twain and Garth Brooks. Can you imagine what it was like as a judge to have to hear I Feel Like a Woman 30 times in a competition because everybody wanted to have that number one dance to this really, really popular song? And it took years for a lot of us to get out of that mindset of doing things like that and finding the independent artists. Because nobody would have known about the Moonshine Bandits had I not been choreographing them and pushing them so hard to where they became more and more common to hear in dance clubs. Colt Ford is another prime example of that. And I could go down the list with other artists that are not in the country hip hop genre. I am working with country metal right now, so I'm kind of hoping that goes over too. But see, these are things that we talk about when I say choreographer suicide. All right, you hear a song, go do your research, even if it's by an independent artist, because sometimes you will find out somebody just put out a dance because they heard it too. Is that a bad thing to step on them? No. Sit on it for a little bit and see how many other people pick up on it. And if that dance that you saw takes off. One of the other things that will help you in the long run if you're a choreographer, and I highly recommend this, I do it with the choreographers that I mentor, do not release your dance to the public until you have a demo video of it. In this day and age with cell phone technology, all you have to do is hand your phone to a friend, put the boombox on in the background, play the song, do your dance, boom, demo video. You don't have to do the fancy stuff that I do with entering title screen and bumper music and a credit screen with bumper music on that and all the graphics on the screen. All you need is a very, very simple demo of your video to put out there when you release the dance. Now, why is that important? Because a lot of times instructors will not touch a dance that they cannot see how it flows. When they go to Copper Knob looking for the new dance that has come out to a particular song, if they don't see a video attached to that step sheet, they're going to pass it by 9 times out of 10. Now, there are some instructors, I will say, will take a look at it and they can kind of judge your flow pattern from what they see. Not all instructors are that way. So, it's always best to release a demo video when you release your dance. That way the instructor can go, okay, here's printed off the step sheet and I'm following along with your demo video, and wow, that flows really good. I like that little hook there. I think I'm going to go ahead and teach this one. Okay, so there you have it. We talked about the scoring format and I delved a little bit into choreographer suicide. So that only leaves me a couple of scoring categories left to do: entertainment value and promotional value. Until then, we'll catch y'all later.